Hello and welcome back to Darren and Do It. I'm Will Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, Spurs back.
Spurs are shit.
Nothing's changed.
Spurs are shit. Let's Ange out. Let's fuck it all off now.
Get
Let's
him
pack it up
out.
and go.
Nothing's
Yeah.
changed. We got to be
Fat
more
Ange.
ambitious. West Ham are on our fucking tail.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. We got to
He's got to go.
act like a big club. Yeah.
He's got to go.
Not good
Son's got to go.
yeah, he's washed. Yeah.
He's washed. Yeah. Only there for the shirt sales. Am I right? Everyone's fucking right.
Honestly. Yeah. Say it again, mate.
I don't think we should ever go on Twitter ever again.
It is a mental place, isn't it? Well, if you look at the contrast between the first half and the absolute dopamine on my timeline, everyone fucking rock solid, just everyone having a sick time. As soon as that second half whistle went, misery and pain and I've never seen anything like I've never seen a switch up like that. It was ridiculous. But let's start
during games. We were saying this on the Fighting Cook this morning. Partly because I was streaming the game on Sky Go, so I'm like a 30 seconds a minute behind. So I put Do Not Disturb on anyway. But I just put my phone in the other room. I just can't be asked. Like I'll go on Twitter at half time and I'll see because it's like one, I can't be asked if there's a goal notification or someone saying something in the group chat because I'm behind. But also just like I feel like it influences your opinion as well. Like
that's true actually.
Because a lot of group chats are going mad. I've got like the Fighting Cock group chat is going mental. My group chat that I've got with like my stepdad and his mates that we go Spurs with is going mental. My mates who are fucking gooners are taking a piss. I'm just like, when's it going to end, Robbie?
But also, I was at half time. I was like, refrain from fucking texting people saying like, "We're winning the fucking league."
We're back.
Shit like
I actually did text you.
We're back.
I did text you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so what you said?
What did you say?
You tweeted out in the morning, like during the day in that game. You tweeted out, what did you say? You said something about like Arsenal a couple of seasons ago when we just pipped them to Champions League and it seemed all doom and gloom. They rocked up to Crystal Palace, Selhurst Park, and it was like the first game of the season, an evening match, and they played really well to the point where you were like, that was almost a perfect performance. Like they wow, you can see it clicking.
Well, it was that like first 20 minutes, wasn't it, of that game, that Arsenal game? It was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, they just looked good, didn't they? And it was like...
fans have been chirping all pre-season about Saliba and shit like that, and it was like...
And their pre-season was strong. Yeah. They were saying that. Yeah, Saliba, yeah.
See him do it in the Premier League, you know, and it was like 20, 30 minutes into the game, it was like, oh.
He's fucking scored as well, and you were like, fuck. But, but like yesterday... We did have that first half where you were like, "Oh my god, that was perfect." Leicester didn't have like a chance, did they? Everything was literally spot on, complete domination, apart from just not scoring and not being clinical enough. But we were just applying the pressure, and I think at half time it felt like we were just going to come out and do the exact same thing. And even Sky, even like Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville were saying the atmosphere was flat. They almost accepted defeat, and then. It all went to shit. But before we talk about the negatives, what was the highlights then of the first half? What was the positives for the first half?
So much. Can I just say that tweet I put about Arsenal? I got so much heat for that from Arsenal fans. I was like, forgive me for wanting my team to do well. I was literally just like, my words were like, I want to. Excuse me. My words were like, I want to see that. Like, I just basically what I tweeted was like, I want to see Spurs play well tonight. And apparently that's not enough. Apparently that's not okay.
Bunch of gimps, mate, because you were literally fucking giving them credit as well.
I know. I was literally like, I want to be like you. Well, I don't want to be like them personally. No, but like fucking gormy cretins. But that's just gimpiest fan base in the world. Positives a lot. Maddison, especially. Maddison was fantastic. Like so good. The Maddison that I think we've been waiting to see since October or November, whenever that Chelsea game was. Everything went through him. I thought Porro was great the whole game. I think Porro's like good, man. He's so good, man. I've been kind of saying throughout. He's been one of Spurs' most consistent players in pre-season, and he's the only defender in that back line that has played in pre-season, really. And I partly think again, not to make excuses for the doggy Van der Ven and Romero, but I did think they looked very leggy in that second half.
Really struggled, mate. Really struggled. Especially
Romero.
Romero.
Van der Ven was all right.
Actually, we can talk about all of them and say the same thing because they just they looked very. I mean, but they haven't had a pre-season because I think Jamie Carragher said he was like, that Spurs looked like it was a pre-season game, but it kind of was for the likes of like Romero, Van der Ven, and a doggy. So sorry, before you go back to your point, there's a lot of negativity. If we were to have a stinker of a game, it's probably better it being the first game and not losing. Yeah. I know that's not good enough because we need to, even if we play shit, we need to beat Leicester. But the first game of the season, we kind of need to learn from that quickly and then grow into the season. Because don't forget, we drew to Brentford last year as well, and went on to have like our best start to the season ever. So I think to drop the points like we did in that game, in the first game, I think you can kind of see that as, well, at least the first game of the season, we can only get better unless we go to Everton and lose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also like I think a lot of the things that went wrong are all things that can be ironed out as well. It's not like a lot of people were saying that we saw a lot of the same stuff as last year, which is true. But again, this is a process, isn't it? Like this is a process of us trying to get to a place where we want to be consistent every week, taking chances, being ruthless. Like again, I don't want to come back to Arsenal too much, but the good thing about Arsenal and what they do is they go 1-0, 2-0, bang, game over, and kill it straight away. That's the place Spurs need to get to, because first halves last season and when things were going really well, and yesterday was arguably one of the best halves of football we've ever seen under Postecoglou.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that was missing, was that second goal. Right, go and get it now. But it wasn't as if the chances weren't there. I actually didn't think that, Postecoglou came out after the game and said that we weren't quite clinical enough. I think that's maybe a little bit harsh because on some of the forwards, because I actually think the chances that fell to them weren't exactly gimmies. There's a few that you can say do better. I think Solanke's the first header was a bit awkward, but it was 5 or 7 minutes into the game. He had another one that went straight at the goalkeeper. He had that shot in the second half. He had one in the second half, didn't he? Yeah, straight at the keeper. Even again, it would have been difficult for him because it was like trying to go back across the goalkeeper. There were 2 players there. Near post is always a bit, unless you've got a lot of power, like he actually does have. And I think one of the reasons I was impressed so much with Solanke is how smooth he does everything. I said this on stream earlier. Every action is so smooth, and like his ball striking is really good. And it was like he caught it well. It was just so almost agile. Like maybe caught it a bit too well. But 100% so agile. He was a massive positive. I think we almost gaslit ourselves a little bit last season when Sonny was playing through the middle before things got a bit toxic, and we were like, oh, actually, this is not working. And then obviously Richarlison did what Richarlison did last season. And it was like, okay, this team actually does need a focal point. Whereas before, I thought it was like, okay, no, well, we just need someone to stick between the posts and finish off cutback chances. And we can't do that because, one, we're going to become incredibly predictable. And 2, that just doesn't work. That's not sustainable. You need a number 9. Yeah. And again, we talked about it in pre-season in terms of like, it's all well and good kind of buying young players for the future, but the one position that you cannot scrimp on in terms of that is a striker. And I think we've bought a proper centre forward to play last night. And I think if we'd have continued that momentum after 65 minutes or 50 minutes, 55 minutes, whenever we considered a goal, before that, I said it on the stream earlier. I opened the stream by saying that the Bentancur miss where he hit it straight at the goalkeeper was the moment the game turned. That was the moment the game turned for me, because it was just like, that is one chance too many now where we've gone like,
we've missed.
We've moved them side to side, cut them completely apart, and then we've just fluffed a shot straight at the goalkeeper. It wasn't an easy chance by any means, but it was like, how many more times? Like the ones in the first half, headers just wide and one's cleared off the line. It's like, you can deal with that. What else have we got to do to score a second goal?
Yeah.
Those ones in the second half, it was just like, you can feel that.
Last night felt like when you're playing AI, FIFA AI, and you lose, or like every shot is like hitting both bars, hitting the post, and then they have one chance at the other end, and it makes you break your controller out of like frustration. I've forgotten how that feeling feels of just feeling pure adulation, dopamine, and being like, oh mate, we are playing so good, like the optimism of the season, and then that gut wrenching sort of butterfly, not even butterfly effect. It was horrible. That frustration, like anxiousness that you feel when it like goes 1-1. Like it was horrible, because you're just thinking, oh my god, we're gonna fucking lose this. We didn't, thankfully. That Vicario save against Vardy was ridiculous. Because I thought that was in, and I thought, fuck me, Vardy's just scored 2. Mate, Vardy is such a prick, mate. I know he does it. He's a pantomime villain. He does it to every Premier League club. It's not like just us, but He is such a dickhead, isn't he? But he was just fueled. You could tell he had an injury. He's fucking fueled up. How many nicotine patches do you reckon he had on his back?
Yeah, he was fueled up on snus and Red Bull, wasn't it?
Yeah. Snus and Red Bull, mate. How many Red Bulls do you reckon he had at half time? He probably had about 15. Literally, just Steve Cooper's just like talking. And
keep feeding
him down in the corner, and he's like punched himself in the face, just like getting over punched up. Everyone's like, "Fucking hell, what's Jamie doing?"
If I have one snus at the pub, it makes me feel sick. And Vardy's there, just like fucking come on, yes, yes, yeah. He's got no teeth. The gums are gone, but he scored again. And it was just like, it felt so much worse because it was him. Like that's what made it even worse. Like it was just 100%. Like, oh, fucking
37-year-old fucking Jamie Vardy.
He's just a cunt off. Like, yeah, that's embarrassing. Like doing all that when you and do you know what the worst thing is? Is like yesterday was the perfect thing for everyone to just laugh at Tottenham, right? Because people like Jamie Vardy because he's a bit of a shithouse. People hate Tottenham because they think we're fucking Tim Pot. I don't know why Leicester hate us so much. I don't understand it. I hate them. I think they're.
Fuck
if
Leicester,
I said
mate.
what I really think about Leicester, this podcast would probably never exist again because I just hate them so much. Like I cannot. And it's like I was saying this morning. Like nobody gets it because it was like, oh, it was the fairy tale. It was like, oh, how good was it for Leicester to win the Premier League? It was like, it wasn't for us. Even Arsenal fans can turn around and say how good it was because they weren't even in the title race until the fucking last game of the season when they finished above us. So it was like they weren't even in the race. It was us and them, and we fell apart and gifted them the fucking title. And it's like, oh, how the perfect fairy tale. No, it's fucking not. I'm glad they got fucking relegated. Well,
oh my god, no team deserved it more.
We're happy when they got
Leicester.
relegated. Yeah,
and they will again this season. I think they will. But so I love Solanke, and I loved seeing the way we played, having a presence up top because, like you were saying, it really felt like having his presence was so known when every time we were attacking, there was a big man in the box, and that was something like you're saying we've missed when we had like Son up front. We missed that because don't forget Leicester had big defenders as well, Wout Faes and Vestergaard. Solanke held his own against those two, and I think he faded away a little bit along with the team near the end, but. There was stuff that surprised me, like you're saying, his silkiness, his dribbling, the way he receives a football is so clever with the way he positions his body, gets the body like lets it roll across him, holding his back like with his back towards back away from goal.
Yeah,
and he rolls it, and it lets it roll across to his trailing foot, and then he's on the turn already. And like the little things like that, I was watching thinking. Fucking hell, I didn't know he had that in his locker because obviously I didn't really watch him that much. I knew what type of striker he was like, but little assets of his game that I was picking up on. And I was thinking, you can so see how this is going to like that pan out across the course of the season. Okay, it's his first game; he hasn't played with us yet, but everything just looked a lot more. I don't know. Everything seemed to click a lot more. I think
it just made sense, didn't it?
It just made sense. Yeah, and
I was the last time we bought a player that was like plug in and play straight away, and you just know that they're going to be good. Like I said, if that momentum didn't swing in that game, he scores a goal. 100% he scores. 100%. Because it was coming. Like how many more? What more has he got to do? You know, those chances were a bit unlucky. You know, if Bentancur's header that he flicks on at the near post in the first few minutes. Solanke's literally there to tap it in the back of the net on the goal line. He was getting in all the right positions, and that's the thing with strikers. Like. I was actually saying it about Nicholas Jackson, funny enough. And I know not a lot of people agree. I was saying it, I did a video shoot yesterday with some other football creators like in the space, which was really good with Zach Jalab and a few other people. Doogie Critchley from Sky Sports was there. What a guy, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, what a legend. Such a nice bloke. Yeah, there was some good people. And we were talking about that we got asked to like rank. I think it was like rank these strikers in terms of who's going to have a better season. And it was like Richarlison, Nunes, Nicholas Jackson, and it was rank these players, it wasn't just strikers, and Mason Mount was in there. And I put Jackson at the top because I was like, with Jackson, I was like, yes, I know he's offside a lot. And yes, I know he's not the most clinical in front of goal, but he's always in the right position. He's always kind of like getting himself, and he keeps coming again and again. And Solanke is much better than him. But that's what I thought about Solanke. It's like, He keeps getting in the right areas. He keeps getting in the right positions. He keeps making the right runs, the right movements. Like you said, in terms of getting his body in front of defenders as well, he'll win a lot of penalties. You know how Kane always used to do that thing where say the ball's coming in from the left-hand side, he just makes that dart and gets his whole body across, where if he gets a first touch on the ball and there's a lazy little swing there, it's a penalty. Like, I don't think a lot was made of it, and I might be completely wrong. You know that half penalty appeal that we had on him?
I'm thinking of it now, yeah.
I was thinking
he just did that. He did that.
Yeah, but that was maybe more of a penalty than we. It's not making excuses. I don't think it was. And I think it was probably the right decision to just stay with the referee. But like instances like that, he will win a lot of penalties. He's just very, very clever. He's a very clever centre forward. I'm a big fan, and he's got a fucking brilliant chant as well.
Yeah. Well, I think everything was there apart from the goal for Solanke.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about Maddison. What you said there, because like you were saying, when he's on form, there's no one more important for Spurs than him. Everything gets played through him. He's making those underlapping runs. The fluidity between Son and Udogie is when it clicks, it clicks. It's unbelievable, and it's almost like unstoppable. I think people jump the gun a little bit too much with him.
Yeah, I do. I'm guilty. I think I was guilty.
I think we got too excited within the first 45 minutes. I think he might have got too excited in 45 minutes. The game was over the course of 90 minutes. He didn't have a good second half. I don't think. I don't think the team did. I don't want to be like too negative. And actually, Paul O'Keefe tweeted today. He said something like, "You don't have to be all negative. You don't have to be all positive. Sometimes games can just be in the middle. Like it's a bit shit in cases. It was like amazing in some cases. That first half from Maddison is exactly what we want to see from him.
Yeah,
but
that's the real James.
I thought but then I thought he just faded, and I'm thinking, you want to if you want to be where he wants to be, you've got to keep that consistency up till the last minute. I know it's the first game of the season.
Give me the ball. That energy of like, give me the ball. I'll make something happen. Has to continue when the team aren't playing well, and I just don't think it does with Maddison.
No, the momentum switched and he dipped and until he got substituted. I think that's and
then look at the impact he had when he came on.
But he wanted the ball. Bergvall, he wanted the ball, and you get these players in, and they wanted that. They were brave, and I think Maddison. I think he was getting a lot of people were saying, okay, he's back. I do think he has the capability and the confidence in himself to bounce back. And that first half was like epitomised what he can do for us.
Unbelievable.
He was so good. The assist with the ball was spot on. I think set piece deliveries were good. I actually thought, and I was going to put that. That was what I forgot to say about Solanke. We looked so much more aerially. We looked like a threat aerially, didn't we? Because when Solanke was in the box, like we had Bentancur, Solanke, Romero, Van der Ven, like Doggy, Star, Porro. Yeah, who would have thought? Not me. Like the one person that was going to get ahead of was Pedro Porro. But yeah, I mean Maddison was brilliant. But I just think. I think everyone was getting a bit like, oh, this is it. Like everyone doubting Maddison. He needs to keep that up for the whole game.
Yeah, show me over 90 minutes. Start. Yeah, show me over 90 minutes. Yeah. You know, 100%. Not 38 games, but 25. Like, come on, let's. And part of that is also keeping him injury free. Postecoglou said before the game that the most important thing that's going to make Tottenham successful this season is having no injuries, which is true. Because again, Maddison before the injury, and I also I still maintain that I don't think it was the injury that was holding him back in the second half of that season. I just don't think he was playing well. So it's not just all about that. It's a kind of blend of everything. But I do think having a focal point for him, not just to aim at in the box, but to like, I think we said this in the kind of preview, but like to have someone where Solanke likes to drop deep and then sort of float into those sort of pockets in between the lines. Maddison loves that little ball with the outside of his foot into the striker and then to sort of move into the space, like little 1-2s. Like we saw that, I think it was for Solanke's chance in the second half. It was brilliant football. Like Sarr to Bentancur, Maddison little 1-2, Sarr little flick to Solanke and he had the shot. Like Maddison, when he's playing like that, and everything just...
It's a flow state.
Just like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And everything just like
so natural,
so easy. Like what I loved about him like yesterday was one touch passing. It was like, and he was floating from the left to the right. He was going everywhere, and it was like first time little balls around the corner into people, then moving off them. It was just like, oh, this is just beautiful. And like he is a creative machine when he's on it. But again, like his performance wasn't the reason why we didn't win yesterday. But like you said, he can't. I don't want to see this kind of. And, games do happen like that sometimes, and you can't always expect him to just pull something out of nothing. But I did not notice him at all after they scored at all. And it was like, you knew he was going to come off. You knew it was going to be Bergvall or Kulusevski for him. And obviously, we made a lot of changes, so it was quite hard to sort of see who actually... It took a couple of minutes to make sense of like, okay, this is what we're doing. But yeah, I want to see that just more. I think we'll see a good performance from him on Saturday. I do think that, but...
I think so, and he's a form player. I think he'll carry that through. But I do think, in a way, that I don't want to be too reactionary, but I do think, especially with everyone, how they responded to that whole performance as a whole, I do think it was a bit of a microcosm of what he actually is as a player at the moment. Like, he will show you why people are so enthusiastic about him, and then frustrate you with... I don't know.
Well,
like when he'll
justify both sides of the argument, won't he? In one game.
He will. Exactly. He'll just in one game.
People will say, like people will say, like I tweeted it earlier. I was like, did someone put a comp of him up? And I was like, that's the real James Maddison. Just beg we see this more consistently over the course of the season. He stays injury free. Probably been a bit harsh on myself, to be honest. But his performance last night, for the most part, was lovely. It's like there is that existence in between where it's like, okay, he was brilliant, but you don't have to go with this thing of like, he's back, we're back.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
No.
Like, this is the real. I said that this is the real James Maddison. And I believe that's the player. That I'm saying that off the basis that that's the player in there.
That quality is there.
You have to level that with that kind of but show me more. Show me it more consistency because Leicester fans will tell you exactly the same thing about him there. So I just don't want this to be a thing that happens in the second season with him as well.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah. You're seeing him as a player, and you're seeing what he can be. If he just finds that consistency, there's not a better attacking midfielder in the Premier League than him. But I'm not pinning the whole thing on ability and creativity and flair. Like, I mean, I know we always talk about Eze and players in the Premier League. I mean, I can name probably about 2 midfielders from Man City that are next level ahead of him. But I'm just saying, that sort of... I mean, at the beginning of last season, he was the best attacking midfielder in the league in that moment of time, and he needs to find that again, and he needs to find that consistency to elevate his game to the next level. But I'm not pinning the whole thing on him. I think the whole team, we had really strong first halves, and then the second half, everyone sort of just dropped in performance levels. It's almost like we went to like gear. We started the game in gear 5. And then dropped to gear 3, gear 2, and just went into cruise control and didn't understand the importance of getting that second goal. Yeah, neutral. Yeah. It was like we were going autopilot, and fucking Jamie Vardy scored. So, Brennan Johnson. What are your thoughts on Brennan Johnson? Because obviously we brought in Odobert. There was that impetus on signing that class winger. We didn't get Pedro Neto. We didn't get Eze. I know he's not a right winger. He never would be a right winger. But Brennan Johnson started over Kulusevski, which I think was a bit... Actually, all Maddison started over Kulusevski. I don't know when Kulusevski came on. He came on centrally, but Brennan Johnson, he pressed really well. He was bright in the first half, and he fell off in the second half. And I could be talking about most of the players on the pitch because we all just dropped in performance levels. But I want to talk about Brennan Johnson because how many performances do you think he has left in him where he doesn't make much of an impact? I saw Harry Brooks tweeting about this, how Brennan Johnson he's running out of time almost because Harry Brooks thinks that Odobert is going to come in and show everything that Brennan Johnson isn't or is afraid to do. Yeah. How long do you think Brennan Johnson has? Not to be over dramatic, because the first game of the season, I'm so aware of this, but before you start seeing a bit of a toxicity towards him.
Well, it's already happened, isn't it? Really, like this. You say that this is like a thing of the first game of the season, but this is a hangover from last season, and I think that's why people are frustrated about the performance as a whole, because it's a bit like what we already know. We wouldn't really see anything different, which I don't think is fair for the most part. But I think it's very fair when you label it at Brennan Johnson. When you talk about Brennan Johnson, like you said there, in terms of pressing, I think I saw a stat earlier. I saw about it on the stream that he won more duels and made more tackles than any other Spurs player in the first half, and like he was pressing really well, winning the ball back. But the massive flaw in his game was highlighted when he actually did that. It was just before we scored. I was screaming at the TV where where Leicester actually were sort of able to break away, and I think Buonanotte drifted from right to left, and Johnson comes in crunching tackle, does really well, and it's like, fucking love it. Right, go.
Yeah.
And he just stopped. He went over the halfway line, and it was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, where is everyone? It was like, go and...
I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what to do.
What to do. Like, go and like a bit like rugby. Like, sometimes go and play for touch. Like, go and like try and win a foul. Like, play for a bit of territory. Like, you can knock it off one of them for a throw and get everyone else up the pitch. Just be a bit smarter. Like, that footballing IQ, I think, is lacking with Johnson. I do think that in terms of kind of decision making. And I think that's what Kulusevski has over him. And what Kulusevski doesn't have in terms of Johnson's ability to attack the space, Kulusevski more than makes up for it in football and IQ and decision making when he's on the ball. And that's why I think it was a massive mistake not to start. I don't think actually not having Kulusevski on the pitch in the first half actively harmed Tottenham. But I think in terms of the way that we played and the way that the game went, meaning that we had like 70% possession, there wasn't really a need for us to have these kind of players that are really key for us when we're playing in transition on the pitch. And I kind of had Sarr in that as well. I thought Sarr actually had quite a decent first half. I thought he was really good on the ball. Broke up play quite well. I think him and Bentancur actually does work a little bit as a partnership. I quite like that. But it's just Sarr, like, and the again, when you look at the difference between him and Bergvall, it's just composure in the final moment. Not necessarily in the final third generally, but in the there were so many moments where like Sarr does it so well where he will make that underlapping run beyond inside of Johnson or inside of Porro into the box, and we'll find that pass in between the lines. There was a couple of times where he just like stumbled when he tried to cross it, or like just completely missed the ball, and it was just like that's what you get with Bergvall and what you don't get with Johnson. You get that with Kulusevski. So it's like I do think Johnson's running out of time because as you were saying that, I was looking left and looking at my other screen and watching a compilation of Mikey Moore's performance against Bristol Rovers in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, where he scored a brilliant goal, and just like, and you talk about Odobert there as well. Like, I totally agree. Like, I think that he's going to make a bigger impact, or hopefully he's going to make a bigger impact. I think he's going to get an opportunity quicker than some people might think, because I think what we talked about it when we signed him on Friday. We did the pod on Friday right after we signed him, didn't we?
Yeah. Literally, we just signed him,
Yeah, and it was like the goal that he scored against Luton on the opening day where he gets played in behind and attacks the space and goes on and finishes it. That's not even really a main part of his game, but he's got that composure in the final third that maybe Johnson lacks at times. But he is that dribbly winger that takes other players out of the game, which Johnson just doesn't do. I saw, I can't remember who was saying it. It might have been Harry Brooks, actually, in terms of players running in straight lines. And it's like,
Harry Brooks,
Windy might have said it as well in the replies.
Windy commented on it.
A bit of a problem when you've got Sarr and Johnson, who are both very vertical kind of like runners on that side of the pitch, whereas the left-hand side is a lot more dynamic, I think. And I actually think Porro is the best player in that on that side for Spurs, 100%. Like, Porro is the most key player in that final third. You saw it with the goal, and again, like we talk about the goal. What I loved about that was the fact that when Maddison gets his head up, you've got 4 players in the box there who are all asking for the ball. Like, Sarr is like, give it to me short. Solanke's like, I'm peeling off. Porro's like, I'm getting in there. And Johnson is at the back post with his arm up. So there is that fluidity and there is that movement in the final third. And there is that bravery to go and attack situations and, create these opportunities. But but Johnson, when you talk about bravery, that is something Johnson still massively lacks. Like, again, he's not the physical freak that someone like Bale was, but he's not much slower than him. And it's like, you can just like, I want to see you like, even if you're not confident taking on a man, doing a step over, dropping the shoulder, something that Odobert will do, and use both feet, step over, don't know whether he's going to go inside or out, just knock it round him and chase it. And if you don't win it, at least you've got yourself up the pitch a bit.
Yeah.
Because you're making yourself incredibly one-dimensional, but you might as well use that to your strength.
Yeah.
Sometimes your limitations can also be, like, your weaknesses can be your strengths, in the sense of like, okay, if I am perceived as one-dimensional, at least let me be good at the thing that I am one-dimensional at, But I feel like we're not even seeing that with Johnson. I just don't know. I just feel like he's just got almost gone into his shell even more. It's just like, it's so frustrating because there is a player in there.
Yeah, you want him to express himself, especially when we're playing in such a fluid attacking system. Like, this is the sort of stage for you to express yourself. But I think he's fallen into being such a cog in the machine that he's lost that sort of personality.
So the system, I think. I do.
Yeah, because he is. I think he gets the ball and he goes, "I need to get to the byline. I need to get to the byline," and it's so readable. It's so.
I think him and Werner are so similar in that aspect. Sorry to cut you off, but like, not just in terms of like this type of player that they are, but almost like that confidence where they just revert to type of like, these are the basics of what I need to do, and I'm not going to show any kind of flair whatsoever. Like, whereas like I was just, again, it's in an under-21s game in the Johnson's Paint Trophy, right? But I'm watching Mikey Moore there, and the way that when he receives the ball, and you saw it with Kulusevski, when Kulusevski won that free kick at the end of the game, where Richarlison put the header wide, that first touch from Kulusevski is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So deft, where he just plays it with the outside of his foot and moves his body around to go past him. He gets fucking taken out, goes down, gets up, gets taken out again, goes down, gets up. Like, you don't get that with Johnson. He doesn't have the physical ability to ride the tackles, but he also doesn't have the guile to get past the man in the first place. If that's Johnson in that situation and he receives the ball, bear in mind Kulusevski's got his back to the defender, Johnson will just like, okay, all right, I'm going to play the safe pass and I'm going to move into the space. Whereas Kulusevski's right, I got back to goal. There's nothing on in front of me. I know I can beat him for strength. And again, people talk about Kulusevski not being a right winger for this system. I still don't agree with that. I'm not saying that he's perfect. He's the best option we've got by a mile, 100%.
I think, now we've got Solanke up front as well, 100%. I think someone to sort of bounce off Kulusevski, 100%. But I think what you're saying is like spot on with Brennan Johnson. What you said, that the example you gave of him when he crashed into and won the ball, and then sort of panicked Well, that's the sort of thing that Harry Brooks has been saying for so long, and saying how we're so susceptible to a counter-attack and to a transition when we all commit through our wingers being so erratic and so like one thought process to get to the byline and do it now, or just stop it and pass it back and the defense resets. And it's like, you want that bit of bravery to just, or that bit of spark, that bit of creativity for a defender to second guess and not. I just think it's so easy for a defender to read. You're either going to just drop, or you're just going to try and tackle him. And what you're saying, just like back to basics, just do the whole. You've got 99 pace on FIFA, mate.
Yeah, it was like
just tap it past him and run.
Yeah, exactly. If you lose the ball, at least we're a bit further up the pitch.
Yeah, or you're going to either get past him. I know you're either going to get past him, or you're going to win a throw in. And then we still got the ball, and we're not then defending a transition. A free kick. Yeah, and there's multiple ways you could use his assets like to advantage, but he panics. I think
people aren't going to like this, but it's like, it's not sexy, but like ball retention is really important. Like, and again, Harry Brooks has been on about this for so long. The reason that we're so bad or perceived so bad defensively isn't because of our defense. Even though yesterday we did not defend well in that second half.
Yeah, that goal.
Really poor. Like, and again, I come back to it. And it's like, that's really uncharacteristic of Romero. Like, to just let him walk away at the back post and just not track him. But again, I think that's lack of match sharpness. That's all those kind of things. Like, you can legislate for that, even though it's so soft. But with someone like Johnson, who's had that full pre-season, has been trusted in every game. Just like we said it on the Fighting Cock this morning. It was like, when you're like a kid's party and like there's a little kid there with a football, and you're like, oh right, okay, I like football, so I'm gonna like see the kid. Let's see if you can play a bit. Or it was like your little cousin or something. You're like trying to teach them to play football. It's like you pass on the ball and you're like, right, go on, kick it, and he just picks it up. Like, it's literally like that. And you're just like, oh, so close, like so close. And it was just like he just shat himself and just froze. And I really don't want to like. I tried last season. Like,
shit on him too much.
Yeah, and like last season, I was so conscious of that because I feel like there was this massive pile-on. But I just don't see a world in which he starts over Kulusevski. Again, like I said it earlier, like when in the game, it's going to be similar to Everton on Saturday. Everton are going to be backs to the wall. And again, Spurs are like, Johnson is not good when we're trying to break down a low block. Even though he actually had a lot of space yesterday and he had a couple of decent moments. Obviously, that volley goes in. It's a really good save. The volley just wide, like that was unlucky. Like the actual moments in the final third in terms of shooting.
Good.
Yeah, it was unlucky. Like, it's fine. It's just that everything else in terms of making us more vulnerable to transition, that ball retention, giving the ball away sloppily. Yeah, fine. Go and win it back. That was great. I love that from him yesterday. Pressing was excellent. And again, when you've got a front three that wants to press like Solanke, with Solanke in that as well. Sonny not so much, but with Solanke and Maddison getting up there and Porro and Sarr, like I thought our counter press was brilliant. Like, really, really good in that first half. It was so difficult for them to play out. And they just went long and we just won the ball back and we turned it over. But that spark is really missing with him. And I feel like it's dwindling game after game. And like you said, I think he's running out of time now because you've got Kulusevski, who is a totally different option. You've got Odobert, who is a totally different option to him as well, who can actually do what he can do best. Johnson, like
he's
I said,
what we're screaming out for.
100%.
With that sort of 1v1, take a man on either way, and then product bang. Like
yeah,
I know he's 19, but
yeah, and Mikey Moore as well. Like
Moore, yeah.
I'm not, he's only 17, but again, people won't have probably seen it. Well, they might have seen it by now, but like go and watch his performance tonight. It's just some of the first touches and the way he glides with the ball. Like again, I feel like this is Harry Brooks is the kind of the honorary third member of this podcast. But he's talking about like the way he moves like Eden Hazard. It's like we need a winger like that. It's like you can play on either side and just make it just glide with the ball. The way he scored that goal tonight, it was just like that's what we're missing. Like that is what we're missing.
Yeah, I don't want to
dysfunctional that attack. I don't.
Yeah, no, it did. We signed a striker, and it still felt there was something missing, and it is that, and we're crying out for that. So I will get onto Odobert, but with Johnson, it's like I don't want to shit on him too much. I could be talking about any player every player that played for us yesterday. We all dropped off in the second half. I'm only talking about Johnson because of the competition and that position that everyone was screaming out for a different type of player in that position. Johnson got the nod. Obviously, Odobert didn't have his work permit, but we've signed someone now, and it's that the interest of, okay, you've got competition now, Johnson. Like you need to prove it, and I still think he'll be an incredibly important part of our actual squad this season because I think when games open up, when we maybe have the lead by at least 2 goals, the game stretches. He's like one of the best players you can have in transition because he's just his runs and off the ball and his movement is excellent. And you've seen it so many times. Think about that Brighton, for example, off the top of my head, that Brighton game, that almost transitional attack we had right at the death of the game, and his movement was excellent, right place, right time, bang, 2-1, we won the game. And it's like you can see him coming in and killing games off and being a bit of a cheat code, but starting a game, I think he's running out of time. I think he's running out of time, and he's going to fall into being a squad player if he doesn't sort of express himself more, because there's loads of players willing to express himself. But I just want to say, Timo Werner coming on for him really pissed me off, because you're just replacing him with the German Brennan Johnson. Like, they did the exact same. They did the exact same thing. There's no tactical change. I know we didn't have much options on the bench when it comes to sort of. I mean, we had Kulusevski, but he played.
He already played that card, isn't he? Like,
exactly.
Time, but like he'd used him somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was, and you never know. Maybe he had different plans. Maybe Kulusevski was going to go right. Bergvall was going to go 10, but because of Bentancur, Gray had to shift to the 6. You never know.
Yeah.
I thought.
Gray was coming on anyway, though, wasn't he? Gray was coming on.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah. I just thought Werner on the right is, and there is a bit of a now. Son is an out and out winger. Now he can't. There's not really the option to go up front because Richarlison. I know Richarlison come on left mid in the end, but you're almost you're just putting Werner on the pitch for the sake of it. I felt he had no impact on that game because he is literally just does the exact same thing as Brennan Johnson, probably to a weaker level if he's on the right.
Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for him in the sense that like he does not look comfortable over there at all. When Johnson was going over onto the left. I think it's easier for a player that is comfortable playing on the right to go and play on the left. I think it's a lot harder for a player that is comfortable going on the left to go and play on the right. That makes sense.
He loves cutting in, didn't he, Werner? Or actually, he loves.
He actually does. He's not bad at going to the byline from the left-hand side.
Yeah, he does.
It is different. It's all about football's all about angles, isn't it? It is different when you're over there, and maybe just doesn't feel as comfortable in terms of his movements and that. But yeah, I don't think Werner's certainly a better option off the bench than Manuel Solomon is. But if you're going to play him right wing, they're both about as useless as each other. And what you're right that you actually thinking about it, you are right in terms of what you were saying about Gray. I said Gray was coming on anyway. But Werner wasn't initially in that lineup of changes. But it was 3, wasn't it? It was Bergvall, Kulusevski, and Gray. And then 5 minutes later, I think when Bentancur was down, he also then was like, okay, like Werner came into it late. He wasn't initially going to come on. I don't think. So I think you're actually right.
Yeah. I don't actually really know, but I don't want to talk about Gray and Bergvall, their impact as well, because I think Kulusevski, it's tricky because he was so good and he made the case to start the next game. What a player! But he made the case to start the next game, but you're thinking, well, he looked good centrally.
Yeah.
I
Just
would
start him
play
on
him
the
on the
right.
right next game,
Yeah,
though.
just start him on the
I would
right.
start him on the right, and then maybe halfway through the game, switch him right, and maybe that's when you bring Odobert in. But because I think if Kulusevski can drift wide and form a partnership with Odobert and Porro, like I was saying on the last pod, you've got something special there. And then you could almost have Solanke, because Solanke is so comfortable drifting into the wide areas as well. You can almost have Solanke then now and again drifting over towards Son and a doggy, or Kulusevski coming out, because Kulusevski's comfortable in getting the box now. I think with playing centrally, I think you just had that the two physical presence of Kulusevski behind Solanke. It looked dangerous for when he was playing.
Yeah, it really did.
I think there's a lot. There'll be a lot of fluidity there with when we have that. Maybe Odobert. I don't want to put too much pressure on him because he's 19, but Odobert on the right, that 1v1, Kulusevski, that creativity, that drive, that pressure, the stature of him with Solanke ahead of him, Son on the wing, and again, Maddison had a great first half, but I don't know. I still right now my gut feeling just says Kulusevski. I'd probably prefer Kulusevski central to Maddison, but I would play Kulusevski right because I was really unimpressed with Johnson. I would play Kulusevski right for now because he's still unbelievable on the right.
But you saw it like in that moment, like where he got fouled, and it's like he got up and got on with it, got fouled again, and he had a clear run into that was why it was so frustrating that they pulled it back because it was like he actually had a clear run into the box, and I think we talked about this on Friday with Kulu. It's like it's not as if he can't be that winger that's going to take you on and go past you and get into the box. We saw that a lot under Conte in those wide areas where he would go to the byline and cut it back. Like he would do that. He can do it. It's just that maybe I don't know. Like I don't know. I think that you've got to find a way to get him on the pitch because he's so important.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
and I think sometimes our fan base look at it and think because of the type of player that Kulusevski is, you might notice it's kind of similar to Richarlison, right? Where like if he has a bad game, everything fucking goes wrong for him because he can look a bit clunky and like a little bit like. I think that's definitely more the case for Richarlison than it is for Kulusevski, to be fair. But I think
they're both present. They both try, but it's just nothing's happening for them. They don't.
Sometimes games, for Kulu, it just does not come off at all, and it's like this is horrible. Get him off now.
Yeah.
But when he's on it, he's amazing. Like he's such a brilliant footballer. So it's like you've got to find a way. Again, we've talked about it so many times, and I said it on the podcast on Friday. I think he's my favorite player in this squad. Like he, in terms of the work that he does off the ball and everything like that, it's just like. All goes unnoticed, but because people want to run their own agendas and say that he's fucking one-trick pony, he's so predictable and he's shit. Okay, and I don't want to call those things about Brennan Johnson, but what are you going to say about him? And to be fair, I think most people are probably saying that now. And I don't think Johnson is shit. I'm not. I would, unless there was some. And there are some players in the Spurs squad that I will call shit because they've kind of outstayed their welcome and shouldn't be here long anymore. But Brennan Johnson is not one of those players that I'm going to say Reguilon, Lo Celso. These are players that are just like I'm happy to call shit because it's like they don't really have a place here anymore. Whereas, like you said earlier, I think with Johnson, he's had shit performances, but within him there is that ability to be important. I just don't think it's like you said earlier. I just don't think it's from the start of games.
So what does Wilson Odobert? Do you think he has it in his locker to solve this issue, this dynamic issue?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on him.
Or do you think that it's a lot of pressure? And that's sorry because I've just cut you off as soon as I asked you that question. But I saw is it Billy T or did I see Zeus? I can't remember saying like we need no pressure, but we need Odobert to be like Vinicius Junior. And it was like we kind of do because we need yesterday, and I think it was a bit of a mentality thing because we've got such a young squad, and it was that sort of pattern of that momentum switch, and we shit ourselves, and we do not grab the game back, and we had to try and get possession. By that time, Leicester was settled, and I know obviously the Bentancur injury killed it. Whatever momentum was in that game for both sides, I think. But
I actually meant we could get it back.
Yeah, no, that's true. Actually,
Thanks,
at that
Rodrigo.
point, we're probably looking like two other team.
I hope you're okay. It's like how Real Madrid they sacrifice someone so they can mean they can win their Champions League. Like when Camavinga got injured the other day, it was like they've done it again. That was us last night. It was like we needed that. Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
It was obvious it was going to happen.
At the King Power again as well.
Yeah, and he's just got such rotten luck, hasn't he? And it was really grim because it was like. Also, can I just say, going back to the Leicester fans thing, I fucking hate them anyway. Did you notice that they were like, when Bentancur was obviously knocked out cold on the floor, their fans were just like trying to, I don't know what they were singing, But it was so weird. I noticed that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were booing, but it was almost like they were just very much making light of the situation and like singing these songs. I don't know what they were actually singing, but it was very much like trying to get at the Spurs fans and stuff. It was like he could literally be dead. Like,
yeah,
cheers.
They'll be back in the Championship next year.
Yeah, exactly.
We only have to deal with him for one more year.
But
yeah, we kind of need him to be like. No, we don't. We don't need him to be. But I think what was frustrating is that we need. Yeah, that sort of the game was that. And I know this is so stupid because in hindsight, he would have been injured all the time. But that sort of thing with like a player like Pedro Neto, who would have grabbed the game I think has the capabilities of, when it's not going your way, getting the ball, grabbing the game, doing something magic and switching the game, turning the game on its head single-handedly, like getting the ball, a run and whacking it into the goal. And I know like players like that, they're going to cost 80 odd mil, but I see the frustrations there because there's such an important area of the pitch that completes like the dynamic, and we're interested in that position. And then we sign a 19-year-old that will probably be able to do that in about 2 years. But you're like, well, can we wait? Can we afford to wait? Yeah, can you do it now? Yeah, and then there's too much pressure on him to do that.
Yeah, excuse me, that Coke is making me.
So does he solve it?
I think he can.
Does he solve that issue?
I think he can. I still think that player's Kulusevski. I do think that in terms of like.
He's so young still, Kulu.
Oh, mate, exactly. But in terms of someone like you're talking about a player there that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck, how many times has he done that for Spurs and made something happen? And again, he was the one, like you said, when he drifted into steps. But you can't rely on one player every week. And again, that needs to be Maddison. That needs to be Sonny as well. Let's face it. Like Sonny is not exempt.
He went hiding.
He did, yeah, he really did. I thought he was really good in the first half because it wasn't necessarily he wasn't individually amazing, but that whole left-hand side just really worked. Doggy was great. Maddison was great. Son was really good. Second half, like you said, we could be talking about any player here, and they fucking just shat the pants and just left. I think you made an interesting point. Sorry to go away from the Odobert thing for a second. I'll come back to it. I think you made a good point there about when you, in terms of Tottenham shitting themselves. I think this team still lacks mentality and lacks a big leader. I still think that. Someone to just like, and should we talk about? Can we talk about the Vicario thing now? Because like, that 100%. Really fucking pissed me off. Because
me too.
And again, I put that on Twitter and ended up on the Swedish news talking about it. Right? I wasn't actually there, but I know it was like Ben Bowman like says this about Vicario being embarrassing about Bergvall. I thought it was because it was like, where was that same energy to the defense when they just let Vardy go walkabout for the goal? Well, Romero basically let Vardy go walkabout for the goal. Bergvall had no other option because Romero didn't offer him the pass, so he could have played it out. He could have just kicked it off the pitch.
You were seeing the problem happen not because of Bergvall, because of the lack of movement. As the viewer, you were seeing no one help him out. Yeah. Two on him. He's turning towards his goal. It looked like a problem waiting to happen.
You're just screaming like it happens at, when you're at games or whatever. You just go, someone help him. You're like, someone help him.
Yeah.
Someone help him. Someone gonna help him now.
Yeah.
Is someone gonna fucking help him? It was literally like getting progressively worse. Like you said, it's like watching a car crash before it fucking happens, and then it nearly end up in a goal. But the mentality thing for me is like people will turn around and say that, people for so long have questioned that Spurs got this losing mentality, but finally one of our players shows that bit of passion. It's like winning mentality isn't just about fucking screaming at your players when they make a mistake. That's not what it is at all. It's actually the opposite of having that thing of not like when we were talking about the thumbnail. So for my stream earlier, I wanted to find a screenshot of the Spurs players walking away from the goal when we conceded it, because I feel like I've seen that so many times. It's just like heads down, fucking lads, we've done it again. We conceded a goal.
Arms throwing up, like
fucking brilliant. There's no one. And actually, like people talk about Kane right on the pitch as a captain. He gets so much scrutiny for England. Harry Kane was always brilliant at that because like you could. How many times did we concede a goal? And he was probably fucking tired of it by the end. But Harry Kane was always on the halfway line, like just calm down, just calm down. Like we'll get through this. Just calm down.
Keep going.
There's no one on no one does that anymore for Spurs. I feel like we've lost that. And do you know what? I said this yesterday, and it's not going to happen because he's going back to City. But how fucking good of a signing would someone like Gundogan be for us? Because he's leaving Barcelona free.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily what we need in terms of a profile of player, but like. I still think, and again, I know it's going to sound like my old man, but like, do you feel like we need someone to come in who's won something and go, right, lads, just like, he was their captain,
Yeah. What about like someone like Fabian Ruiz after the summer he's had? He just won the Euros. I know he before the Euros, no one would have fucking said that. But like I 100% agree. We need a little bit more leadership in the team. We've got such a young core, and the senior players like Vicario screaming at an 18-year-old making his Premier League debut, who played really well, by the way. Bergvall was like one of the only positives in the second half with Kulusevski. Fuck it, I'd say that's it. Like them two.
Yeah. Great
like,
did all right. He did.
Yeah, he did all right. He did all right. I don't think 6 is his position right now because I was looking at there was a lot of areas where he needed to come deeper to really offer up receiving the ball. He didn't. And I was thinking, well, that needs to be trained in his game because he's 18 years old. And actually, exactly. And I actually think him and Romero, they didn't show for the ball when both of them made that mistake. But a winning mentality, the whole point of being a winner is understanding why that was wrong. It wasn't, and also he should be digging out Romero. I love Romero to bits. Instead of digging out this 18-year-old kid that really tried hard to win it back after he made a mistake, he was probably shitting his pants. Yeah, because he didn't do it out of there's a pass there, I'm ignoring it, I want to do something cool here, and lost. Yeah, he didn't have the option.
Yeah, I just want to dribble for a bit, see what happens. Like,
yeah.
Keep the ball.
Yeah, like he didn't do that. He lost the ball and like he was chasing the ball. You could see it. He was panicking. Vicario having to go at him is not doing good for anyone's confidence. He should be having to go at Romero, who's a senior player in the team, for saying, offer it up. If you're a winner, you understand where mistakes come from. And
100%.
And I think just and also it wasn't a good look on TV. You're on TV. You're 1-1 with Leicester, opening game of the season. You're shouting at an 18-year-old kid who's made his debut. Like shout Romero. Romero could probably take it. I thought it was embarrassing, because it was like we're giving all the rival fans leverage as well. It's like,
and I saw a lot of rival fans being like, even because I made a video about it on TikTok earlier, and like, and that tweet that I put out, like, divided opinion a lot. I had a lot of people being like, I totally agree. I had a lot of people being like, what the fuck's wrong with you, kind of thing. But a lot of rival fans were looking at it, like you said, like in the sense of like, oh, let's have a laugh at Tottenham, and they're like, why is he doing? Like, he's doing too much, Vicario. Like the way he
like Onana and Maguire and.
Exactly, and it's like
it was like that when people were like, "What?" No.
Because what would you do if when Vicario fails to come out for a cross, and we look shit from set pieces, and all of their strikers are fucking backing him into the goal, and we concede a goal from a corner? What would he do if Romero turned around to him and go, "What the fuck are you doing? Why have you just let that in?" It doesn't happen. That doesn't happen to goalkeepers because it is, it's one of the most difficult positions on the football pitch, and it's probably the most scrutinised. That doesn't mean that then you can go and fucking lambast an 18-year-old kid. And look, the argument that people are using to say is like, no, Bergvall's a Premier League player. It's like, yeah, but you wouldn't be saying that if he come on and played shit. You'd be saying that this isn't his level. You're only saying that because we've seen good glimpses from him in pre-season. And I think he's a Premier League level player. That doesn't make it right.
I think so. He was excellent. No, he's 18 years old.
Like, if
he did that to me and I was on TV, I know I'm not a professional athlete, I would have cried. Yeah, I would have been like on the pictures like that.
Just friend of the corner,
like fuck off. Like I would have been like, fuck, shut up, fuck you.
Suck your mum, Vicario.
I can see her, she's in the stands.
Yeah,
suck your mum.
Yeah, next to me at Villa away.
But I thought I really didn't feel comfortable. I actually felt uncomfortable with it, and I'd love it. And I know it's very spiteful and toxic, but next time he fluffs one up,
Bergvall's like,
Bergvall just fucking goes up to him, starts doing that to him. We're like, Bergvall, mate, we're 3-0 down to Everton. Like, Bradford's just scored his fucking hat trick from a set piece.
Like, the whole of the South Stand, wanker.
Like, I kind of want Bergvall to give it back to him because don't like. I know Vicario has made plenty of mistakes in his first season in the Premier League. Like, it happens. You need to go at Romero because he's an experienced player in the team. He didn't.
Also, who was marking him? No one was marking whoever it was that had the header. No, so it was a free header. Have a go at the defenders. It was I found it mad.
I
found it
agree.
bonkers, but maybe we should just sign the goal.
Yeah, apparently we are, aren't we?
They did say that, yeah.
Paul O'Keefe saying that.
Maybe he needs to be in competition for Vicario. And you know what, with the Bergvall thing, it really surprised me because I played golf earlier with my stepdad, and he was like, he said to me, and he said it in the group chat last night, and nobody really replied, and he was like, I thought that was really poor from Vicario doing that, and I was like, I really expected him to be like, And I was like, sometimes where like Flav was talking about this earlier, where he was talking about his dad, and he was saying that like his dad last night was like, yeah, well, opening game of the season, like you win some, you lose some, tough game, like played well, played a bit shit at this point, but it's fine, like we'll be fine. And it's like, when like you really expect like your dad to be like really unreasonable and just like, and you were like, what? I was just like,
he was a good point.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let him go. I was like,
that was very rational. Yeah,
yeah, that's not like you.
Yeah, no, yeah, it didn't know me, and yeah, like you're right. I mean, I don't know much about this player that's like we're linked with, or but maybe he does need a big competition because obviously no one's taken that for that number one spot. But yeah, so what? Before we move on quickly to the Everton game, because I'm going away on holiday, so we won't actually be able to have another pod after this. We'll quickly do the Everton game for what we sort of understand heading into it. Obviously, we've got a long time before. There's a lot of things that will probably happen before the Everton game. But really quickly, then, what do you think? Then, what impact do you think Odobert will have in terms of our like how significant do you think he will actually be? I know we sort of touched on it before, but after this opening game, how significant will he be in this system?
I think it's a great video on the Ben Bowman YouTube channel about it.
Yeah,
I think he will. I think quite a big role, to be honest. I do think that like Anne just showed with some of these players that you might be 19, 20 years old, but I think you're ready. I think you're the right profile. I'm going to use you and I back you. And again, I always think I said this about players like Mikey Moore and stuff in the past. When you compare it to kind of what Pep's done at City, I think kind of with the style of football that he's kind of cultivated, it's like I actually think it's easier to sort of bed in these attacking players because he backs them and believes that they're the right profile for the system. And it's like when you've got other creative players in the team as well, the less of that onus is taken off you a little bit. So I think he'll have quite a big impact, to be honest. I'm not saying he's going to start on Saturday because I don't think he will. I think it will be Kulusevski. I think it should be Kulusevski.
Yeah.
But we talked about this before the game, like in terms of that bench that we had last night. And it was like, this is the best bench we've had in a long time. Not just big in terms of like actually the names, but also like the thing of like, okay, these are actually all different options, all kind of bring different things. But there was one thing still very much missing, and that is him. And again, when I say Odobert, I ain't fucking kicked a ball for us. He could get injured on Saturday and be out for the fucking season. But that thing of like that player, that kind of profile of player, we haven't got that in the squad or on the bench. So in the starting 11 or on the bench. So I do think he'll have more of an impact than people think. I think he's fucking good, man. I think he's a really good bit of business.
Yeah, well, I know what you mean though. Like, say Odobert comes on for Johnson instead of Werner, it's almost not. It's not a like for like. That he could have been an absolute catalyst. And yeah, he's the type of player that even if he hasn't got the confidence at the moment or that sort of that like personality to grab a game by the scruff of the neck, him trying creative, exciting things will only get the fans back, like up on their feet, encouraging the team and driving the team, which can switch momentum just in a moment. When we're holding on and we're battling against Leicester after being so comfortable for most of the game, having someone on who could be a catalyst and sort of just doing something different, fans get on your back in a good way, drive you, and the momentum switches again, and the confidence is installed in you again just from trying something new, adding something different to what we've been seeing for 60 odd minutes. I think if he came on instead of Werner there, maybe he could have had a different impact. All right, really quickly then on Everton, because we don't know much about it, but the team news you're gonna go with, is it, I'm guessing, the same team?
Yeah.
No, it's probably not Bentancur.
Yeah, I think Basuma comes in.
And
yeah, he won't be out. Bentancur won't play on.
No.
Kulusevski for me. Bentancur won't play on Saturday. I think same back four. I would quite like to see Basuma, Bergvall, Maddison, Kulusevski, Son, Solanke. But I think it will probably be Basuma, Sarr, Maddison, Kulusevski, Johnson. No, fucking not Johnson. Fucking Johnson. Solanke.
Yeah, I'd love that. So it's our first home game of the season. I remember the last first home game of the season. I was at the game. I went on my own, and it was the Man United one, and it was unbelievable. The vibes were ridiculous. The energy, the atmosphere. Like, I know Postecoglou had just come in, but under the sun, we were excellent. And I feel like we need another one of those games to really kick us off. And that game, we just drew to Brentford. That game really kicked off the Ange Postecoglou sort of tenure. And
Brentford kind of teed it up because it was like, okay, first game on him, Green shoots there, and then Man United just fucking knocked out of the park.
Yeah, rolled them over, Man United. And I think if we can, I know the thing is, Everton just fucking got spanked, didn't they? They're gonna be
a lot of injuries as well.
Maybe. Oh, did he not have back Brantwaite?
He didn't play on Saturday. I think he's out till like. I was looking at this earlier because I was like, can he play on the weekend? Apparently, he's out till like September.
I think we'll win this then. I think we'll win it. I think 2-0. I think 2-0.
I think 4.
4-0. I'd fucking love us. I mean, obviously, but like something where it's like, I think France. I'd love it to be something where it's so convincing, where we're like, okay, we've sort of learned our lesson from the first game. But it's Spurs, and it's never really like that, is it?
No, they've got Ashley Young suspended, James Garner, Jab Brantwaite, Nathan Patterson, James Coleman, and Yusuf Chamiti injured. So their back four is likely to be Mason Holgate, Tarkowski, Keane, Mikalenko. Fuck me, man.
Tarkowski, 95th minute winner?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Thunder cunt into the top bins from... he's going to do what Michael fucking Keane did to us like a couple of years ago.
Oh, God,
yeah. Jagielka. Do you remember that? When it was like...
against Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah. He'll score one of them against us probably. 90th minute. No, I think 2-0. I think Solanke will finally score for us. It was all the signs that were there. But what's your score predictions for Everton?
3-0.
3-0. And I'm going to say, for you, I think you're going to think Kulusevski will be our most important player that game.
Do you know what? I'm actually on it with predictions as well. Because I predicted a Porro goal last night. I said it in my I predicted us to win 3-1.
You said it in your stream, didn't you?
I did say Porro goal.
Yeah, he did.
And he fucking did.
Yeah.
What a player. I love him so much, man.
Yeah, he's going to have a massive season as well.
Yeah, great. Hopefully he's fit for Saturday, by the way. Because that was a little bit of a
oh my God, yeah.
You love him. Why the fuck did he not take him off about 5 minutes earlier?
Or just tell him to go down. Just fucking go down. Like if we
those are the things that are just like missing from like just those little things.
Do you think there's little things to our game that would just make us winners? That sort of dirtiness or that sort of the sort of the dark arts of going down, wasting right then with the sort of when the momentum switched, someone go down. Kill the momentum completely, get the ball back. Something like that. Or the fine margins in games that win you football matches like Arsenal have done with set pieces. I think those still need to be sort of applied in our game. Because and that was a fine example. Like we very easily could have conceded and lost the game because Porro just wasn't in defence. He was just injured. Just tell him to go down and also you kill the momentum and get replaced and then I don't know, it was fucking stupid. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. I also wouldn't mind seeing Spence on Saturday.
Yeah,
I want to
see how he actually.
But yeah, it was not the worst thing in the world. I mean, it kind of contradicts what I said earlier about. I think actually Porro is so much more important to the team than so many people realise. Maybe that's not that bold of a take, but I think that I kind of want to see Spence. Because I thought the areas that he was getting into when he came on were not bad. It just wasn't. There was actually he got quite unlucky. There was a nice little bit of link up play with Solanke. The ball back from Solanke wasn't that great, but near the end of the game. But yeah, who knows? I mean, I would like it to be Porro, but yeah, I'm gonna say 3-0. I think it'll be like I think the dust will settle over the next couple of days. Everyone will be looking forward to getting back to the lane on Saturday. I have to say I am. I can't wait.
I think so.
So I think the vibes will be back on Saturday and we'll smash them. I think.
Yeah, I fucking hope so, mate.
Dominic Calvert.
Yeah, I hope so. I'll be watching from Sicily, mate, with the mafia.
Oh, yeah.
Just fucking rooting for the COYS.
Yeah, Vicario. I take back everything bad I said about Vicario.
Yeah, Vicario. Yeah. Bergvall, he was right. Bergvall is shit. I'll take it back. I promise.
I made a mistake. A general mistake.
I hold my hands up. I said I'm sorry. I am panicking.
Things like room holiday.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah,
enjoy the rest of your week. Don't let Spurs get you down and
it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine.
COYS.